When I talk to people with insomnia for the first time, there's normally 4 questions I ask, and this really helps me offer the best guidance and advice. I'm going to be talking about these questions in today's video. Hi, I'm Martin Reed. If you have insomnia, I offer sleep coaching programs that will give you all the skills and support you need to enjoy better sleep for the rest of your life. You can learn more at insomniacoach.com. So there are 4 key questions that I ask almost everyone who has insomnia when I first start talking to them. And these are: when do you normally go to bed at night? When do you normally get out of bed to start the day? Roughly how many hours of sleep do you get on a typical night? And why do you think you struggle with sleep? Now, I ask these 4 questions because they help me identify the perpetuating causes of insomnia, of which there are only 3. The first is a sleep drive disruption. So if we go to bed before we're sufficiently sleepy for sleep, sleep is going to be more difficult. So that's why I always ask people when they go to bed at night. The next question I ask, which is when do you get out of bed, helps me pinpoint if the second perpetuating factor of insomnia is present. This is body clock disruption. So if we get out of bed at a different time every day, our body clock can't really regulate itself because it doesn't have this strong morning anchor. So if someone tells me that they get out of bed at a different time every day, I know that's something else that can be addressed. Now, the reason I ask how much sleep someone gets on a typical night is this helps me determine if they're allotting too much time for sleep based on when they tell me when they go to bed and when they get out of bed. So if someone is, say, going to bed at 10 o'clock at night, getting out of bed at 6 in the morning, that means they're allotting 8 hours for sleep. But if they then tell me that they're typically only getting 5 hours of sleep, I know that that means they're spending 3 hours in bed, probably awake, tossing and turning, frustrated, and this is perpetuating their insomnia. So by allotting a more appropriate amount of time for sleep, sleep will typically improve over the long term. And then finally, I always ask why people themselves feel they struggle with sleep. Often this helps me identify if the third perpetuating factor for insomnia is present. And that final factor is arousal. And this can be conditioned arousal. We've learned to associate the bed with wakefulness and frustration. So we almost fear the bed and it makes us feel anxious and awake instead of calm, relaxed and sleepy. It can be physiological arousal, which is more to do with a body response. When we get into bed, think about sleep even, or when we wake during the night, we might wake with a real strong jerk. We might feel adrenaline and worry and this whole fight or flight mechanism taking over our bodies. And then we have hyperarousal, which is kind of like this racing mind. You know, as soon as we get into bed, we just can't switch off the mind. It's just racing a mile a minute, maybe about sleep thoughts, sleep-related thoughts and worries, might not be. It's just a case that we just can't shut the mind down, and maybe we're self-monitoring for sleep. So all of the questions I ask, they're pretty simple, but they help me pinpoint a plan of action when working with clients. So if someone is going to bed before they're sufficiently sleepy, or if they're allotting too much time for sleep, then I know that we can work on the sleep drive, making sure that you're sufficiently sleepy for sleep before going to bed. If you have a very varied out of bed time, I know that's something we can work on to help regulate the body clock. If you're spending too much time in bed, I know that we can reduce this down to consolidate sleep. And if you recognize that some form of anxiety, worry, or arousal is keeping you awake, that's something that we can work on too. Now, we can address every single one of these issues with cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, cbt-i techniques. cbt-i techniques are great because they address the root cause of insomnia, which is always these perpetuating factors of insomnia, which is a sleep drive problem, a circadian rhythm or body clock problem, or a high level of arousal. And cbt-i addresses all of these. So it's such a great long-term solution because it doesn't just mask the problem, it fixes the problem. So I hope you found this short video helpful. If you did, please click the like button and subscribe to the channel. I try and share a short sleep snippet video every weekday. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, or suggestions for a future video, please leave a comment below, or you can email me directly. My email address is hello@insomniacoach.com. I hope to see you back here again soon, and remember, you can sleep.